It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. That means it's 7 o'clock here in, how do I put it, seasonably warm Minnesota. We had a high of 39 today. I actually had to kick back some of the support, not the support. What do you call it? You got your primary heat, supplemental heat. I had to kick back some of the supplemental heat stuff today. El Nino is making life a little bit easy on your Florida boy for him here in Minnesota. It's a good day. So I hope y'all are doing well. We got Troy from Best Dressed Balls on the show. If you don't know him, you should. And if you don't, that's okay. We were all new at some point in time. Awesome dude. I've gotten to meet him a couple times. You guys know his personality, his charisma. You see him out there. From what I could tell, that's all pretty legitimate. We're going to hang out tonight and spend a little time getting to know each other tonight. So Troy will be on the show. He'll be out in maybe 10 minutes or so. So stick around. Like myself, Troy's a bit of a family man. Got a little supper coming on the way. So we're not going to shortchange anything, but we will get right to the content tonight. But we got a full show for you. Nothing's getting cut short. So stick around. Good to see everybody in the audience right on time, right out of the gate. I got to say hello for sure to Charlie Gray Rider Reptiles, our newest banner sponsor. If you haven't seen promo code proper15, you're going to get 15% off of 2 sheds from shedtesting.com. We got a new little initiative coming up. We're going to give it a test drive with yours truly so that, you know, we wouldn't want to test something on an unsuspecting audience member and then, you know, ruin them or screw things up. But in the new year, Charlie and I'll do a segment, hopefully regularly, every now and again, whenever I get off my butt and send them sheds. I'm not sure. We'll call it Shed Test Tuesday. So we're going to give that a run in January. I've got a handful of sheds going out to them this week for my own personal testing, and we'll just reveal the results on the air. It'll be, we don't want to be like too like Maury Povich, do we? Like you are het. You are the het. I don't know. We'll see how we make this work, but you will see the honest reaction from me because all of these, especially these initial sheds that I'm sending to them, are ones that I've wanted to find out the results on. So huge thanks to Charlie. Guys, go check out shedtesting.com. Also, speaking of sponsors, actually, I got a lot of announcements with the sponsors. I didn't even plan it that way, but that just occurred to me. Cold Blooded Cafe, they're the primary sponsor on Proper Cup of Joe, and I work with them in some other ways. But they've got a new promo code, Proper11, instead of the Proper 10 code. It's just like the Proper 10 code, except it's Proper 11. You're going to get 11% off of your next order of frozen thawed or frozen. They'll be frozen. You'll thaw them. Frozen rodents from Cold Blooded Cafe. So go check them out. Their links are on the Proper Cup of Joe show. And Redline has this really cool initiative going on right now, I guess I would call it. I mean, the usual Proper 5 code, you're going to get $5 off your shipping label. But there's a project that Robin is extremely excited about. I will tell you that from my personal experience with Robin. He is very, very excited about it. I'm looking at my notes here. I sent Robin a couple bullet points, and I got a little bit of feedback on my bullet points. So, but look, it's Project Redline, and it's the sling bags that are really practical, but you see everybody wearing them. They're pretty hip these days too. You can kind of go, you can wear them as fanny pack, you wear as a sling bag, and they're going to be made with the fabric that will attach the vinyl patches. Vinyl? I think it's vinyl, but the plastic patches. And there's been like 100 breeders that have signed up to get these custom patches made. And I don't know if you collect them, you could show off like who you're aligned with, you know, Team Adam, Team Redline, whatever you want to do. Proper Royals, I'll have them. I got the patches coming. I'm one of the 100 on there. And look, Robin's cool. You don't even have to be a a REDLINE aligned shipper. This is just a thing to kind of unite the community, invigorate the community. If you're a buyer, it's a cool way to show off who you enjoy doing business with. If you're a seller and a breeder, what a great way to build new relationships and acquire new customers and all of that kind of thing. Very, very low barrier to entry. I don't want to quote any dollars, but there's not 3 figures. Under 3 figures, you can, Robin will help you. You can source these patches. And I think everything rolls out at Tinley. So in the next 90 days, you'll be seeing and hearing a lot of these things. A lot of breeders are already posting the artwork on Instagram that they have done. So anyhow, go check that out. You can find all the details. Let me see if I missed anything here. I think I did pretty good. Oh, and you know what? There's a multitude of opportunity for breeders to offer perks if you have their patches or different prices. I think a lot of people will give them away or have them as add-on benefits. So a lot of different things on there. Very low bar, dollar bar of entry into this. And go check out the REDLINE site blog, redlineshipping.com, and you can find out all about it. So I'll be there. If you want one of my patches, let me know. I don't even know how I'm going to work this thing. If it's just going to be a total giveaway or if I'll tie some value to it. I'm not sure. I'll be sharing the artwork though, for sure. 40 people out of the gate while I'm cutting sponsor promos. This is great. This is just what I should do all night, right? Okay, guys, everybody loves a little drama. You guys know I don't care for any drama, but you want some drama, you got some drama. So on the contest, the Snakes and the Fat Man contest debates the other night, somebody in the chat starts going, "Oh, I banned his contestants from my show." And so Chris, hey guys, Chris and I talk. Chris goes, "Hey, what's that about, Adam? I thought everything was good, and like you're doing these promo reels." I'm like, "Yeah, everything is good, and I am doing the promo reels." The contest goes for 4 weeks. What am I supposed to do? Have only 4 people from the contest in? I got sponsors, I got close friends, I got business partners, I got all kinds of stuff of people that are in the contest. So for the record, since people want to stir up nonsense between Chris and I, anybody who's asked, I've worked with on being creative on Instagram Reels, I'll do it. It's fun. Did you see that ridiculous mustache I grew for Portuguese pythons? I'll have fun. It's my brand and my name out there too. I'm down with it. But what I said was, if I can't make it an even platform, I don't want to dive into trying to make sure that I keep all the contestants happy. I said to the contestants, and Jared at Jaw Dropping Morphs is going to take me up on it. Come January 1st, hit me up and we'll find a slot on the schedule for you and I'll have you on. There you go. So there's your drama for the day. Done, gone, no issue. We're cool. How cool of a contest though. And I got to say a very big shout out to everybody who's participating, everybody who is still and hasn't quit. Man, if you guys quit, there's a lot of people that would have really, really wanted to have those spots. You should make the best of it. Get your brand out there. Why do you think Robin is trying to ignite the community with patches and sling bags? It's to get interaction. It's to get cross branding. It's to get the camaraderie going and to keep some energy in the industry. And that's what Chris's contest does too. So keep participating, keep going. Great job, guys, that everybody's going on it. I'll be watching and eagerly checking out what the results will be. You guys can vote daily if you don't know. So if you like multiple people, vote for multiple people. It's easy. Had a show this Sunday, Ed and Emily's show from Snake Discovery here in, it was actually in Hastings. Interesting story, interesting, really micro lesson here that I learned this weekend. Really cool. With every challenge, there's an opportunity. So the show is Sunday. Friday, sometime, I don't want to be too dramatic. Sometime Friday, I get an email. Show's been moved. It's not going to be in Bloomington. Bloomington, Minnesota is where the airport is, where the Mall of America is. It's huge. It's a big part of Minneapolis. It's where you want to be. So it's moved. It's moved to a place called Hastings. I don't know about you, but I know where Mall of America is. I don't know where Hastings is. So I'm going to myself, man, I kind of was looking forward to this show. It's in a big place. It's in a big hotel. It's you know, this is going to be a good turnout. And now it's in somewhere called Hastings. The unintended opportunity that came from the challenge was, I think every vendor scrambled, myself included, to post on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere we could, hey, the show's been moved, still come out. I'm still vending, still come out. I think we advertised more for that show than we ever would have. And it was a great show. I did well. I had a good, it was my last show of the year. I had a good end to the year from it. Look for opportunities and challenges. Really good. It was nice to work with Emily and Ed. They do a nice job on their show. Go check them out. This Thursday, Proper Cup of Joe, we'll be paying our tribute to Frank Costanza, and the tradition of Festivus will be airing some grievances. I got some problems with you people. You're going to hear about it. That's Thursday morning, Proper Cup of Joe show with my good buddy Joe Arner from down in Tampa. Last announcements, big thanks, couple really big thanks to some people out there. Really big thanks to Lauren. Lauren referred a friend, and that turned into a sale. Thank you very much, Lauren. I'll be sending you a personal thank you as well. But that means the world to me when people are referring people to me to buy snakes. What a compliment. Thank you very, very much, Lauren. I really appreciate you. Guys, go check out the recent episode of Celtic Balls Podcasting Under the Influence with Pressure Pythons. Alex and Justin, they're wonderful people. Fantastic people. They had very kind things to say about me. I had no idea that they were going to say anything about me, but you'll see these two in the future. I promise you that. They're doing really great things. They're really great people. Go check out. And it was a fun show with them on Celtic Balls. Go check out that episode. It's on the Celtic Balls channel, and it's the one that aired last night. Last but not least, I saw my good buddy Jeremy Bod in the audience, and I saw today that he's got some really killer snakes for sale. Jeremy doesn't pay me anything, but he's one of the people that I wouldn't be where I am today in this industry if it weren't for his encouragement out of the gate. Jeremy and Jeannie Bod, wonderful people. Go check out his Facebook post. I'm just going off the top of my memory here. Jeremy, feel free to promo it in the chat. Cypress Clown, Honey Combos, Het DG, Pass Het D. No, I think 100% Het DGs. I believe there's 4 of them of some combination of all those things, and they're about to hit morph market. If you're interested, hit up Jeremy Bod before then. They are gorgeous electric snakes. I've got a Cypress Het Cryptic or Het Clown, 66% Het DG from him, and I suspect this is akin to some of those babies. So those babies look better than the one that I have for sure. So that's all the announcements. Thanks, everybody. Thank you to the audience. I have not seen who all's been here. It's hard to engage the camera in the audience and the chat. So I just want to tell you all thank you for being here. It means the world to me. Next week, one last quick announcement. Next week will be kind of the holiday episode. I'm going to keep it loose. I don't have a dedicated guest. Maybe I'll find somebody that will want to co-host with me. And if you want to come on and hang out for a little bit and do a little bit more of just a group industry hangout audience, you can ask questions of whoever's on. And guys, just message me and I'll shoot you the link. We will loosen it up a little bit, but you guys know, what's up on Proper Royals. You know where we can go and where we can't go. So we'll have a little bit of fun. Maybe we'll have a little bit of vino. We'll be a little tired of our relatives. We will have been doing the holiday thing for who knows how long. Next Tuesday night is the 26th. 6th. That's an odd word. So let me know. We'll do a fun holiday, just relaxation show. And then in January, we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming. Troy for Best Dressed Balls. I had seen, those of you that don't know, I recently moved to the Midwest, Minnesota, the very upper Midwest. It's cold here. We're in the north. I moved here from Florida. So it's been a little bit of a culture shock. My wife's family is from here and hence my family. I have some family here now too. But I didn't know anybody in the industry, and a few people reached out to me. A few people made sure that I was doing all right. and a few people I was looking forward to meeting, and I just have been blown away by the warm welcome that I've gotten. The last show I was vending, I had met Troy. Where did I meet Troy? I think I met Troy in Tinley for the first time. Maybe that was it in October. And then I started vending in November and December. So I had met him before, but basically one of the first times I had met him, he's working like the show floor. Like he's like a great maitre d', and he's got this screaming, blazing bright jacket on. And he comes by and he's like, how's your setup? You need any electricity? You good on heat? What you need going on? Hey, if you need anything, let me know. This is my son. He's a mini Troy. He's got hair and a bright jacket, just the same. No beard yet. And it was just this really cool welcome. We've all been the recipients, whether it be in the reptile industry or not. We've all been recipients of like the super cold welcome or being shunned as the new guy. And it was really cool. And so I had a little bit of a tie from Troy that way. Another person that's helped me out a whole lot is Joe from JSA Reptiles and JSA Exotics, JSA Reptiles, Joe Atchison. And I know that Joe and Troy do a lot of work. So if I'm going on the birds of a feather flock together, Joe's been fantastic. I'm sure Troy will be as well. So let's get on with the show. How about this? For the very, very first time ever, please welcome from Best Dressed Balls, Troy Schroeder. Troy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am good. I'm good, man. I got to get you on more. We got 47 people out of the gate. How about that?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
In my world, that's pretty good. Usually, so I'm like such a geek. Like usually first 20 minutes or so, we're in the 35 to 40 range. And then by the turn of the hour, we'll be around 60. So we'll see if it holds true tonight. So,
All right.
But I think that's the people. So I think you got two groups of people. I think you got the people that come that see the thumbnail and they're like, hell yeah, I want to be there right at the start. And then there's people that are just goofing off on YouTube that see the thumbnail while it's live. And then they're like, oh, let me pop in.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to put, judging on this, I'm going to put the over under at 65 tonight.
Oof. All right. I like it.
All right. That's
as a former gambler, I like the over under. It sounds good.
I don't have that on my notes, but how common, like I would put it, speaking of over unders. So I had this poker addiction in college, and I've come to terms that there's no better word for it than an addiction. And I could go play now and not worry too much about it. But there was a point in college where I was playing tournaments every night. I was, going out at 10 at night, rolling out of whatever apartment at 7 a.m. After a night of poker, trying to keep up school, work. And the bad news was I was good enough that it didn't kick me in the teeth and make me go, I can never do this. I was good enough to go, I can maybe do this. And that was the worst thing ever, man. That was terrible.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I've actually been in Gamblers Anonymous for, I just got my 8-year medallion just a couple weeks ago. And
congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you. I was addicted. I'm an addict to poker. And, I looked at poker as a full-time gig at one point. And so it wasn't really about the dollar side of it, whether the highs of winning or the lows of losing dollars. It takes over your life. And so, yeah, man, I was the same way. I'd start a game at, 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And sometimes it was, noon the next day before I came walking in the house, and, a lot of 7 a.m.s and 5 a.m.s. And it definitely takes over your life. And so, I didn't start in college. I wasn't or a college age. I didn't really go to college. But so just 8 years ago, I quit, and I was playing pretty heavily for about 4 or 5 years, probably. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, first, thanks for sharing. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think the best way I could put it is that I probably have some addictive tendencies in my life, but I've thankfully never sort of had the full grip of it. And I'm truly thankful of it because I've seen it a lot. I mean, in restaurants, for some reason that goes hand in hand with the restaurant lifestyle. And so I'm pretty sensitive to it and try to be sympathetic and empathetic where I can. No, I enjoy it. I'm at the point where, and I haven't played in a couple of years, but I mean, if I were to go out and say, hey, I got $100, it'll be a fun night out. If, a friend flew in and said, hey, what are we going to do? I don't know. Okay, we'll go play poker, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was funny when I was in Tinley, somebody invited me. They said, hey, I heard you like poker. Let's go play tonight. And I was like, no, I had to be productive tomorrow. That is the very worst thing I could possibly do.
Yeah.
When I have to work tomorrow, like vend, cause it's work, So
yeah. And I think like vending a show, like think about if you have a good day and it's cash, right? And now you're heading to a casino or a home game or whatever, like, yeah, I'm glad I quit when I did. I mean, what really drove a lot of my poker was the fact that at the time I was selling snakes. And so the cash side of things, like it wasn't taking, like I'm at my studio right now, we have a photography studio and that's always paid the bills. And so at the beginning of our snake side of things, that was fun money. And so I just tucked the cash away and it became, it kind of fueled some of my, or probably really fueled a lot of my, my poker addiction really. And so, yeah, same thing, man. If I'd been playing now, at a show, you wouldn't see me. I would have never made it to the next day. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't make it to the next day. And then I've noticed, and I've learned this the hard way. I mean, Daytona's pretty hard on you sometimes. The second day vending, when you got a really heavy hangout the night before, like your sales are down, man. Like you got to be on, you got to be engaging. Yeah. Daytona and Tinley are big shows and there's big buyers, but the best sellers are there. You're going up against and we can all say there's not competition and blah, blah, blah. But they're going to buy from somebody and you want them to buy from you,
yeah, there's definitely like some type of friendly competition and at shows and stuff, man. So I totally agree. And you got to be on. And some days I feel, I've said this before, like, me and I talked earlier, like, me and Joe and the guys, we Airbnb and stuff together. And, sometimes that can be a late night, or we go out to eat or whatever the case may be, right? It turns out to be a late night. And it's tough, especially if it's the Friday night of like a Tinley or an Arlington. And then the following day, any NRBC shows, they open the doors to us vendors at like 7 or whatever, 7:30. And you want to be there because they do the VIP and same thing, right? There's competition and so you've got to be there. And, and sometimes, man, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go under the table and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to go back to bed. I'm definitely not a morning guy. And so, yeah, man, things like poker or like, drinking or whatever, just even hanging out. And then you throw in the fact that I like food. That's why I'm fat. We eat a lot at these shows. And man, that's as much as I love it in the moment. The next day, and Joe, I know was here, might still be in the comments. Like he can tell you too, like that alone takes a toll on you. Like you just feel like shit, because you've overate and you didn't sleep. And so, yeah, it's a lot to manage that time and try to discipline yourself. But at the same time, you want to see everybody and you want to hang out, you want to have a good time. And so, yeah, it's tough to manage that sometimes.
Yeah, there's a skill to it. It reminds me a lot of, I play music professionally. So there's times where I'm on the road and everybody thinks it's all just, rock and roll and partying. And I know that you travel a whole lot, but if you got 4 or 5 hours to go, imagine setting up, I know, but I'm saying to the audience, imagine setting up your vending table every night in a new city, except you're doing it with amps and guitars and drum sets. You're you're traveling in a van with 4 dudes that, if you're traveling in a van, you might, the showers or the sleep is a little bit rough. So I think a lot about that. I mean, it's a lot of, okay, when are we on stage? So like you say, you might need to be there at 7:30 in the morning, and then everything goes back from that. It's how much is my ideal sleep? What can I do the best on the minimum on? All right.
Yeah.
I need at least 5.5 hours to stand and vend for 8 or 9 hours and be on. Okay. Work back to that. Okay. This is a deadline. I'm out of here. Whatever I do to myself between now and then, I got to go. And then, of course, that deadline gets softer and softer as you have more and more beers or
Yeah, luckily, man, I don't drink. You know, in the comments, you can probably see like I have an addiction to sugar, and so that's one thing I'm not going to go to a addiction class on because I'm going to never give up my sugars. But yeah, man, it is tough, and you drive across the country, and we have Pomona coming up, so Pomona, California, Reptile Super Show, first weekend in January. Lisa and I used to take that trip relatively, easy. We would drive out partway Wednesday, and then Thursday we stay in Vegas. I still love my time in Vegas, even though I no longer gamble. I like my food, and so we try to plan for a Vegas stop when we can. And but now it's like a lot of times it's a little bit of crunch time and stuff, and so it's a lot of times we've been driving straight through. So you get there at whatever noon, you've been driving all day, you haven't showered, you've barely ate or haven't ate anything great, and then it's right into setup. And yeah, man, then you want to hang out with everybody. So, now it's Friday night, you're going to a dinner, and, you come back to a hotel and everybody's in the lobby, and, next thing you know, yeah, man, it's, 2, 3 in the morning, and here you got to be up again at 7 and, ready to go. And, your friends probably understand it, right? But like you're meeting new people coming to your table and whatnot, and it's like, trying to be the, be the guy, right? And to be honest, that's my happy place. And so the way you see me at the show is the way I wish I was every day. And so, I certainly enjoy my time at a show, and, but it's a lot of work. I don't think, people don't understand. And same for you. Like, I've had some people in the music, industry, friends of mine, and yeah, I've been there. I've helped unload amps out of a van, and, it's certainly, man, that's even, probably even more, more of a trouble, a lot of heart. It's every night, right? You're moving. And so, at least with the Reptile show, big weekend Reptile show, it's right. You move in one day and you got a couple days to, kind of relax. But yeah,
it's not to go too far down the music rabbit hole, but I've had some other musicians, and they're like, well, you don't have a big, like a half stack is one of those like big cabinet speakers. And I'm like, no, the venue has microphones, man. You can have a speaker this big and carry it in 2 hands. Like I'm in the wedding side of things, right? For the studio. And this weekend I saw a DJ set up, it went from, these giant case speakers, right? That you roll in. This guy's speakers were probably, yay thick and probably a couple feet long, and they sounded absolutely perfect. You know what? It's, Bose makes these towers, and it's getting really nerdy, but if I'm just playing solo acoustic with a acoustic guitar plugged in and a microphone, I only use those Bose towers. I used to carry like the monitor speakers pointing back at me, and then the big stage speakers and the PA. One of those Bose towers, I don't know what science it is. It's magic though. You can, and it's great. I'm out of the truck in 2 trips. I carry in the tower and I carry in the guitars and the mic. That's it. Done, man. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Okay. Well, now that we've covered all of our music speaker trivia for everybody, so I don't know, we'll just jump in. I know you've got a big enough presence. I'm sure people can look up somewhere the first time you held a snake and it made your eyes tear up and all of that good stuff. So we're just going to assume that people can find that. And you mentioned Joe being in the audience, but I've seen that you, Joe, and JD travel a fair amount together. I also saw that we'll get to in maybe another segment is that you have this podcast show also with 3 other people. I find that most groups of people can't stay on the same page for longer than like 42 minutes, much less do something successfully repeatedly. Yeah. Tell me about the show travel. And again, on the one hand, there's competition. On the other hand, there's really great brand alignments, and those are killer breeders, man.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have found success in setting up together, and Joe and JD, as far as JD Constriction and JSA and myself, we all kind of met at the Iowa show, So Jim Stepflug put on a show here in Iowa that at the time I was actually selling leopard geckos. And so I was kind of crossing over into ball pythons. And so, it's been like, I mean, I've known who those guys were for quite some time, but, really first contact and talking was, well over, 10, 12 years ago or something. And so, our friendships kind of took off from there. I got to know JD a little bit through him and his wife at the time. When they first got pregnant with their first kid, I did some photography for them, and our friendship kind of, blew up more so from there. And so we, started hanging out and whatnot. Joe and I and his brother John, we had done some talking and whatnot at the Des Moines show. I think we all ended up going out to eat one time in Ames, Iowa, on the way home from the Des Moines show. And again, kind of things kind of blossomed from there, and it made sense that the three of us, really kind of had a different collection. John, or JD, I call JD John and JD, so you hear me call him both. He's an Axanthic guy, right? I don't really do anything Axanthic. And, just now in this last kind of year, I just now started to put a little Axanthic in the collection. And Joe and his brother, John, and Sheena, Michelle, they, again, we all have the same, ball python, whatever, but at the same time, like our collections were a little different. And so what we were setting up with didn't seem competition between the three of us. So it seemed like it made even more sense for us to, bend together when we could. And so I went to Arlington, the NARBC show in Arlington, and came back, told those guys, like, hey, I really enjoyed it, blah, 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 blah. And I think first JD went with me. And so JD and I set up together. And then Joe came to the following show. And really since then, we've been doing the three of us vending together that show now for, it's been quite some time. Good 4 years or 5 years or something. Okay. It seems like. So yeah, so twice a year together. We rent a 15-passenger van. We rip the seats out of the back of it. We load everything up. We meet in either Ames or Des Moines, Iowa. I'm in Iowa. JD is in Iowa in Cedar Rapids, and then Joe comes down from Minnesota, and it all kind of aligns really well. We travel down to Arlington in the van together. Usually, me and my wife trade off driving. We Airbnb together, and then not only do we Airbnb together with the three of us, typically the Airbnbs that we were at for Arlington was kind of fun because the people owned like the one right next door, and then they owned the one 3 down. So Justin and Chase would Airbnb right next to us, and we'd have room, and like Antoine and those guys would come. And so it wasn't just, it grew to, even though the three of us are vending together, it grew to kind of a really fun thing. A lot of people this last year, we did like a little kind of party at our Airbnb, and we got pizza and barbecue and stuff, and invited a bunch of people over, and nice. That was a lot of fun. A couple times before that, I think we rented out like 3 or 4 of the Airbnbs, and TJ came and Jersey guy. I mean, we piled a bunch of people in all these Airbnbs, and it's just a lot of fun to get together. It's really family like, right? Like you grow into a little family, and so it's really neat. Patrick, what's up? Patrick's here. I told him he has to come watch, so he's in the comments.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we have 69 viewers. We have surpassed the over. We are in the over.
All right.
Now we got to 70. I'll be happy to be totally wrong on what I thought the number was. We can blow it through the roof. I'm cool with it.
I hope so. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I was saying in the comments, like, there's so many podcasts, right? And so, I see a lot of the same names come up in many of them. And so, I mean, those guys are, a lot, they're giving up a lot of their personal time to come watch these. And so I know you're thankful. I'm thankful, and yeah. And that's even grown into like kind of a family thing too. A lot of these people I've maybe never met, right? Like, but you talk in Instagram chats, or you talk in live chats on a podcast and stuff. And you feel like everybody. You just feel like you've been friends with everybody, and so it's a lot of fun that way. And I certainly enjoy these. And obviously, my times at shows, traveling with the guys, it's certainly one of my favorites. Pomona, I kind of do something very similar. We kind of caravan out. So this time, myself and my wife, Chris from Epic Style, and then Kendall and Josh from Ball Shed. The three of us, 3 different vehicles, but we'll follow each other out to Pomona. And then we also set up with Andrew from Redwood, Jerome from No Limit, Jacob from Civil, and then Antoine, he typically does, but he's now moved to North Carolina, so I don't know if he'll vend, coming up, soon, but hopefully he'll find a way to still vend with us and stuff. So,
right,
yeah, it's a big family. So I feel like I'm.
So who? If you're caravanning, there's always somebody who's trying to go too fast, and then there's somebody who is dragging the group behind. Who I need some dirt here. We like just a little bit of dirt. We don't need any dangerous.
So typically, this is the first time Chris is coming, but Chris and I have followed each other as well. We both heavy-footed. Okay. I'm going to totally throw Josh and Kendall under the bus. Like last time, my wife and I followed them home. They did like if it's like 70, we won't do anything too crazy, but I'll do 80. I might do 84. I keep it somewhere between probably 9 and 15 over or something, right?
Sure.
No, Josh and Kendall, 3 miles an hour over the whole time. And we followed them, and I was like, we didn't, you don't want to break apart, and you could get a few miles ahead of each other and still be fine. But, I'm like, I text them like, what's going on up there? Like, get moving. And so we'll see what happens this time around. I like to get moving. So
yeah, I'm in the 11 to 15 over, and you got to look around. I mean, if everybody's going, just go. If you're all alone,
you get into some of these, you get in some of these states where it turns to 75 or 80, right? So then I want to do 85 and 90, and again, those guys are just putting along. So sorry, guys.
Gotta go. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit of van travel dirt as well. But I'll let you think about that. Like, I need a good every good traveling crew has a good road story. So
off the top of my head, Sheena, we brought our puppy with us one time, and our puppy shit all over Sheena about 5 minutes into the road trip. And so that was, kind of a funny moment. Literally 5 minutes. Like, we had pulled out of the parking lot, maybe got onto the road or something, and our dog shit right on Sheena's sweatshirt and stuff. So that was always good times.
Typically, we don't out the ladies first. We would.
I'll throw Sheena under the bus just as quick as Joe or JD. Like, she's one of the guys when it comes to road tripping, and it's a good time with those guys.
Okay, Troy. Joe is swinging by my house for the first time on Thursday, and I haven't given him the address yet. But if you keep up this stuff, I'm going to be afraid for him to know where I live. So I need you to.
Yeah, Joe's pretty good stuff, man. He deals with me quite well. If anything, I'm the most trouble in the group. Okay. I only like to eat certain. I have irritable bowel syndrome. There's a fun fact for everybody, for the 70 people watching or something. And so,
and that's why you caravan and you don't get in the van. Everybody drives their own vehicle.
Yeah, I'm literally, Patrick just said I'm the worst. I am. Like, I'm a diva, when it's drive time. Like, you're only eating where I'm eating. And Joe just said high maintenance. So those guys put up with a lot. Joe and Sheena and JD put up with a lot from me when it's travel time.
Yeah. One thing I do remember, now that you bring it up, at the end of the last show here in Minneapolis, as I was wrapping up, I heard you tell about 7 people. Yeah, we're heading south and we'll be at Famous Dave's. That's where we're stopping. You're coming here. We're going there. Yep. See you there in 2 hours. That's where the stop is. I was like, all right, it's got to be some kind of restaurant here.
You either show up or you don't, right? So, like, my travel time from the Minneapolis show to back home here, it's not bad. It's like 3.5, 4 hours, depending. And so, man, Famous Dave's is not the greatest food on the planet, but it does not mess with my tummy. And so, hey, if you want to have dinner with Troy, you come to Famous Dave's. If you want to go somewhere else, you don't hurt my feelings. And so, yeah, a lot of Five Guys trips on the side, on the road. Joe and JD, like they have like stomachs, like iron stomachs. So these guys eat, JD is a foodie, and that guy can eat anything. We've only seen him eat one thing where it actually affected him, tummy wise, and it was called Joe might have to help me, like not a Texas Twinkie, but it was like some spicy something. Anyways, Joe will tell us in the comments. So I make them. We stop at Oklahoma City at the same spot on the way there and on the way home. We get pizza. And again, those. I mean, I drag those guys through the dirt as far as having to follow Troy's food rules. And so, there it is. Joke. It's called Cherry Bomb. Cherry
Bomb. What is it? What, as you called it? What is the Texas Twinkie, aka the Cherry Bomb?
So the Texas Twinkie is something my wife likes. I'm sure we can get lots of jokes going with that. The Cherry Bomb was like, again, Joe would probably have to help me here because I don't eat any of that shit. But JD ordered a bunch of crazy barbecue food from this place when we were still in Arlington, because now we're moving the show to Dallas, right?
Okay. All right.
And so JD ate one, and JD's gonna love I'm sharing this, but off to the restroom he ran, and I think we gave one to Paco, and same thing, like it messed Paco up pretty good. I don't remember what's in it, but Joe certainly could probably tell us in the comments.
So this isn't a dessert. This is a barbecue dish of some sort.
Yeah, and it's like some spicy. I don't know. Joe, help me out here.
I got it. I bet. All right, I'm gonna make a prediction. In North Carolina barbecue, they use something called cheer wine, which is a cherry soda, and they will slow cook things in a cheer wine reduction. So I'm gonna bet it had something to do with the cherry soda and then super hot spice. So you got a sweet and hot spice barbecue. Is that what's going on here?
There was something pretty spicy, some spicy BBQ for sure. Meatball with barbecue sauce and ghost pepper.
Oh yeah, well, ghost peppers are just like a dare that you make your buddies take. Like that's not. That's like, there's nothing good coming from a ghost pepper recipe, man.
Yeah, I don't mess with any of that stuff, man. Like even smelling it sometimes, I'm like, you guys gotta get that shit out of here. So,
because I'm curious, and I think I have it pieced together. So how much of work-life balance is snakes, reptiles, and that industry, and how much is the professional photography?
It's always a good question. It changes. Obviously, like through COVID, snake sales was really kind of it. The studio really just kind of shut down. But very quickly, it came kind of back online, and so now, getting away from, COVID times, which I think is something we all kind of relate to, or talk about.
Everybody went through that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've had the studio for 15 years, 16 years, I think it is now. If I had to say like where my income comes from, it's really pretty 50-50. Cool. There are times where like we'll make a little bit more on the ball python side, versus the studio, and then vice versa. So I think they somewhat compete. And to be 100% honest, man, I think that if I just quit one or the other and put all my time into one or the other, they would both succeed, greatly. And so in some ways, I hate that we have both. So Lisa and I have talked a little bit about, I like the animal side of things. We're both animal driven people. And somebody, when we were talking about, my gambling addiction earlier, I can't remember who said it, but they said something about being like addicted to ball pythons. Ball pythons really serves a big purpose of feeding somewhat of my, gambling addiction, right? You're playing with odds and things like that. Yep. But animals alone, like
that was Keith at Creative Genetics. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So like, if I owned a farm or something, man, I would have every animal on the planet, and we love animals. And a friend of mine we called talking last night. She's from New York, and we were just joking about how I just got another dog. So now we're on our third French bulldog. You know, we have the snakes, and we have, saltwater tanks, and we have, an African gray and a frilled dragon, and, just some, whatever. But I would be the guy that if I had the farmland where if you called and said, hey, I've got a dumbass donkey or something, I would take it. I just don't want
That's how my wife is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's that's really where I think my heart lies. And so we've talked about maybe getting rid of the physical studio space that I'm in right now and just shooting our stuff on location, which would, take out some of the, it would give me some time back towards the animals. And so right now, without my wife and me and even our son, trying to, kind of keep the balance of things, allowing me time here to work, they're at home. Lisa takes care of the rats pretty much 100%. My son really jumps in and helps me clean in the snake room quite a bit. And so, without that, man, I'd be in a lot of trouble. And so, it's definitely hard. I'm not good at time management. I will be 100% honest with that. Some days it takes me 4 hours to motivate myself to leave the house. There's a lot of things that come with that, which we don't have to get into.
Sure.
I told you I'm an open book, so I'll talk about whatever you want me to talk about.
I don't, like I said, I'm not here to out anybody or anything, So.
Yeah, so it's really tough for me to answer it, with a driven answer. I know that's a long route of an answer, but income wise, it's really kind of 50-50 or runs really close to that. I need to work on my time management. That would help out a lot of things too, both our studio wise and the reptile wise. And I'm trying. And so, that's always a work. You're always a work in progress.
Well, absolutely. And we should be. I think I always told people, and when the day comes that I stop trying to improve, first I better have a ton of money because I'm never going to make any more. And then honestly, I probably will have lost my drive. Hang me up at that point, man, I'm done, So, hey, I want to say thanks to John's Creatures, $4.99. That'll buy some rat food, maybe some mealworms or black oil sunflower seeds for the ASFs to snack on. I appreciate you, good friend. It's interesting. You said, I thought we were going to go down the path that I've sort of adopted. So I don't go into restaurant operations anymore, but I still consult, and I do that largely from a distance, and it's largely financial. Although I do some operations consulting from a distance, and honestly, for the right price, if they want to put me on a plane, I'll go consult in operations. Anywhere. Yeah, for right price and pick up the phone, I'll do it. But it's funny because I this year have been about 50-50 as well, and which is a huge accomplishment for me. If you told me I would be short of making no money and then splitting it 50-50, I actually maintained my income, but snakes now have become 50%. I really like it. When you said if one were to go away, I thought you were going to say you'd miss the other, but you were like, no, it'd be great. I would be done with it. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm ready to just totally jump off the ledge. There's days I want to, and then there's days where I'm like, thank God, because I'm really, really good and really confident at one, and I'm getting good and I'm getting confident at the other, that being snakes. So, it was kind of neat to hear you say that. And it sounded like it was almost like at the end you veered toward the animals, but at first it sounded almost like a coin flip, I just need one of them,
It really is, man. And I have to be honest with everybody, I'm not burnt out ball python wise, but I'm, if Joe was on here, being my accountability partner, he would tell you, I struggle. It's not so much the market and stuff. I just feel like maybe I grew quicker than I wanted to. And so there's a lot of animals and it's a lot to take care of. People don't realize the time that you give up, to take care of a couple thousand rats and, 500-600 ball pythons, and you have dogs and a family, and you want to do things, and again, I'm going to be just honest here. I fight a severe depression, and sometimes the snakes feed that. I have a hard time. I walk in the room and I just am just where do I start? And I've got to get these guys paired, and what should I pair? Should I pair? Like what's the market going to be like in a year? And am I part of the problem? Am I part of the problem making X amount of ball pythons and now the market is flooded with X amount of whatever, right? And so I really beat myself up a lot. I beat my collection up a lot as far as, I'm never happy with what I have. And that's something that I've been trying to work on too. Like, as far as, just finding, maybe my happiness a little bit with it. And you see all these people like getting out and, downsizing. And I think that's natural. I think that's probably within any industry really. Like, I see that on the photography side. You probably see it on the music or restaurant side.
Oh, the restaurants are brutal on that
stuff.
Yeah. And you love it when you're in it and you hate it the next morning. What does that sound like? That sounds like a blackout drunken state, like, and we go do it, and we do it for 27 years, it's hard. And I didn't have the rough end of it. I came out of it married. I came out of it never having threatened my marriage or anything like that. I came out of it with a son that loves me and still well respected to where I could go back into the industry. But I see it, man. It can be brutal for all the things that you're describing, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, man, it can take its toll. And I'm in a good spot. Really overall, I'm in a good spot. There's some things that need to change for me. My time management. I do need to probably downsize. You get emotionally connected to animals in some way of a different way. Like,
right.
I look at single gene pieds. And I think like, oh, I can get $400, $500, $600 for, this 3,000 gram girl, but I can take any one of my males and one egg is going to make me $1,000 or whatever. Right. So it's hard to look at them and be like, yep, I should get rid of them. Like they're just costing me time and money and food and space and whatever. And then the flip side is, well, but I can also make this much with them. And so there's some type of weird emotional attachment to that. And so I that's something I've struggled with in the past. I probably should have sold some girls, sooner. And now you're at a point where it's like, man, if I'm not going to breed them, am I really doing them a justice having them here where somebody else could maybe buy them and breed them? And so it's, trying to go through some things. I think I'm going to end up bringing probably 20, 30 adults out to Pomona with me, which that's something I've never done. But if I'm heading out that far, man, it's worth me taking whatever. And you have to, if anybody takes anything away from me tonight, like the one thing I would tell you is you have to take like, some type of self inventory, of your time and what's worth your time and what's not, as far as your animals go. Like if you're just feeding that girl because you think she's pretty, but she doesn't really, make you, I mean, there's such a fine line between a lot of this. People talk about, oh, it's not about the money. It's, I love the animals. Well, I love the animals too, but at some point you cross over to like, from maybe like a hobby or something you enjoy to do to a business. And that's where I'm at. I've crossed that line. Yeah. And so you have to think of things somewhat in a dollar, idea. And so it is tough. And so, I fight with that a lot, but it's part of the process and you have to go through with it. And, I'm certainly happy where I'm at. And, hopefully, 2024 will be another great year too. And we had a great 2023. And I think that, so many people get caught up in, they think the market is down. I don't actually believe that. I think, again, if COVID is like a pin, a point in the scale, really we're just pre-COVID normalness. And so to me, it's not so much that the market is down. It's probably down a little bit. I think there's probably some truth to that, but it's not the whole thing. We're really kind of back to normal. And now it's, we need to use 2024 and probably 2025 to, balance some things out, animal wise and supply and demand. And I think, that part of the market will correct. So there's my 2 cents on that.
Well, I have a few thoughts. One, I don't think that you're isolated in those thoughts of balancing motivation with feeling overwhelmed. I think passion drives us to do things that could get us in too deep sometimes. And then reality and rational thought is what balances us and gets us back on the track. And life really is a lot of that. And what happens with some of our personalities is that pendulum swings way hard one way and then it swings way hard the other way.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just want that pendulum in the middle. And I don't say that directed toward you or towards anybody. I say that as my own feeling and how I kind of keep things. So a lot of people ask me, they're like, man, Adam, you always seem happy or even keel. And I said, well, part of it's because I'm pretty good at showing certain things. But the other part of it is that I truly focus on what I can control and leave and walk away from what I can't. And I've had to really have those thoughts with myself too on the snakes. You said that either you might have, or you see other people that grow too fast. And what a way to kill a passion. Like,
yeah,
chase a passion off a cliff and then get buried in it, because that doesn't really follow the analogy, but you know what I'm saying? To where like the thing that you loved is now the thing that you hate because you got too much going, or you had $75,000 and instead of keeping 25 on the sideline to pay the bills and keep the lights on, you're going, I can't do any of it now because I can't pay the electric bill and I don't have any money left. And so in my now experience that I have, I would tell everybody, do the Will put it the best, grow into business instead of going into business. Like,
yeah,
learn what
pretty much so. That's great advice.
Start with 10 colonies of ASFs, not 45 kind of thing. Like, you know, like,
well, if somebody has 45 ASF colonies and has an overrun of them and they're near me, I'm coming to get them.
I will. I might be your boy shortly. We will see.
Yeah, I can't ever seem to keep up, and we feed both. And some animals, go back and forth. Like I have no issue with that. Some people, swear they have an issue, and that's fine. I don't. I have a few animals I choose to just feed ASFs too, and for whatever reason they just do better, and so. But yeah, I mean, I never have enough ASFs. So I'm sorry to cut you off, but you said ASFs, and I was like, oh, I could use those.
It's my latest endeavor. I said for years on this show, if anybody ever wants to call me a hypocrite or wants to know a reason to call me one, they can look to my years of denouncing that I would ever breed rodents, and I would find ways. I would have sponsor relationships. I wouldn't breed rodents, and it's pretty neat. They're neat little creatures, man. And it's a new endeavor. And I like figuring things out and tweaking things and blah, blah, blah. So I've gone down that road. That is Joe will tell you about it, but that's the relations of why Joe's stopping by on Thursday. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of people too, like, on the subject, like, I mean, I know people have now fed exclusively ASFs, versus rats and stuff. And, I kind of even think about that sometimes. If I could really, it's easy to come up with your numbers on breeding rats and whatnot versus ASFs. There's a big time difference, and I haven't figured out that math. And I know Joe's kind of working on that too. And so, yeah. And real side note, I saw, you had a super chat about my favorite candy bar.
Oh yeah, I just made the note. I was like, well, he's a sponsor. I'll get to him there. But all right, so $5 from Chris at B and S Reptilia to know what your favorite candy bar is. Hit it.
So I want to tell you it's a Hershey bar. But I have to be honest with you that I will sit down and I will eat a Hershey bar. I will eat a pack of Reese's peanut butter cups, and I will eat a York peppermint patty, like all within seconds, because again, I'm chubby. And there's no particular order, but if you asked me the question, like, you're on an island and all you could have was one candy bar.
You get one. Yeah, right.
It would be a Hershey bar.
Just the classic, unadulterated, just straight American chocolate. Huh?
Yeah, that typically, you guys are gonna find out how fat I really am here. I love a Hershey bar. So like if you're now here in the Midwest, right? So summer comes and like it's a beautiful 78-degree day and a little bit of wind, and you pop your windows open, your house is probably 80. And if you get a Hershey bar to sit there, it becomes like, it's almost like pliable. I don't know. That's like it's almost like it tastes different. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like wintertime, I'm like, they're there and they're on the counter, but they're, I dip them in peanut butter. I also make a sandwich out of them. I'll take a Hershey bar and I'll put honey and peanut butter, and then I'll put another Hershey bar on top. I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this.
No. I'll tell you, the way you describe candy bars is how I describe steaks.
I love steak. That's all I eat.
Just what you were talking about with texture and temperature is why temperatures on steaks matter. And when I try and tell people, because I'll deliver a steak and they'll be like, it's burnt. I'm like, it's not burnt. If you got why would you have a baked steak? You want texture on the outside and you want the temperature on the inside, and you get the variation in all of that, because there's different flavors from where it's got the searing on it, sort of an acrid black flavor, Yeah.
Do you have a favorite cut of meat? Favorite cut of steak? Ribeye?
Beef ribeye. And not just the ribeye. On the ribeye, you got kind of the center part, and then there's a little strip on the outside, and that's called the spinalis. And the spinalis is where it's at. If you ever want to get real greedy, Troy, here you go. Get a rib roast, and you can actually cut the spinalis off the outside and make a whole steak out of the spinalis.
Oh,
and all those rookies that don't know what to expect from a ribeye aren't going to know the difference. Just make sure you don't mix up your spinalis with the rest of them.
I love it. Yeah, I like a good ribeye. I really enjoy a good fillet. I love tri-tips. That's probably one of my all-time favorite. But when we go to Pomona, we go to oh shit, what I want to say. It's like a Cuban American place, but they have a phenomenal tomahawk. And so we'll hit that Friday night. So it's actually funny, like I was a little behind on my time management today, and I was gonna make that phone call today to get our reservation set up, but I haven't. So I'm sure there's some guys listening that are like, what? You don't have our reservation? But I'm gonna get that taken care of. So
all right. Let's take just a second. We got 71 of y'all. Don't turn away. If you've enjoyed this content, you have to listen to the good people that make this possible, and those are our sponsors. I knocked out a couple of them at the front, so it's going to be really fast, I promise you. Check out Redline Shipping. If you didn't hear the initiative that Robin is working on, Project Redline, with the sling bags and the patches, go check out the replay at the front there. Also, when you use Redline Shipping, you save $5 by using the promo code PROPER5. Shedtesting.com. That's Charlie at Gray Rider. You guys know him. You know that he is doing and changing the shed testing game, being the alternative for you, and the great opportunity. You're going to get great customer service, fast results, fast shed results. Charlie's just invested in a lot of new equipment to handle a lot more volume. You'll see a new web page rollout soon. And if you haven't used Charlie before, or if you have, use the promo code PROPER15. You're going to get 15% off of 2 shed tests. Not only are they fast, not only is it great service, they're accurate. You can rely on it, okay? There's science here. This isn't just some dude winging results your way, okay? Brandon Nixon, he's over there in Maryland, and I always want to make sure that I get the projects that people are working with right. Brandon is somebody that I've done breeding projects with in the past. He's a great guy. He's served as a mentor to me, super knowledgeable. And what you got to remember is he's working in the orange projects. You see his logo. Sunset, Ultramel, Monarch, and Hypo, and all sorts of codom combinations that go in those recessives. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, but I could tell you he's been a great resource to me and a super knowledgeable guy. I would venture to bet he would answer your inquiry if you were to message him on Instagram or anywhere else out there. Portuguese pythons. Speaking of the Pomona show in California, Portuguese pythons, they're out there in Chino in the Inland Empire, just east of LA. Great people. Both Brandon and Portuguese pythons are in the 15 minutes of lame competition. Go check them out. Portuguese pythons as Danny and Renee. Great people for sure. Right now working on Ultramel Pied project. I know they have some hatchlings available, both visuals and then visual hets, double hets, those combinations. So if you're into some nice projects like that, go check out what they got. Fantastic stuff. Consider voting for both of those breeders in the contest as well. Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. That is Trevor, and he's been a very great supporter to me. Impressive breeder. He's been at this 15 years, and he gave me a list, and he called me back. He's like, wait a minute, I want to make sure everybody knows I got something for everybody. So he's working in Puzzle, Ultramel, Clown, VPI, Axanthic, and Tri-Stripe. And what he backed off from was Monsoon, Zebra, and Sunset. He called me back. He's like, you know what? I think I need to advertise to a broader base. So Trevor knows what he's doing out there. Like I say, he's been at it nearly 2 decades of keeping, 15 years of breeding. Last but not least is Chris at B and S Reptilia, one of the very first sponsors, our longest running sponsor on the show here. Chris is in Pennsylvania and specializes in all sorts of different species. I believe he told me one time that he tries to pick up to breed at least one new species a year. So ball pythons, blood pythons, boa constrictors, various localities, Pituophis, if you know what that means. Chris is dealing in that, various colubrids. And again, super knowledgeable. Very, very good guy to me. Very knowledgeable. He's helped me along the way. We've been to Tinley together, and I can vouch for you that he and his family are great bunkmates out on the road while vending. There's very few people I would say that about. I'm so glad that worked. So now I know who I can bunk with when I'm on the road. Check out those people. They literally make this show possible. They make it so that I don't have to consult as much, and I can put my effort into the show and bringing you great content with people like Troy. Troy for Best Dressed Balls. We got like 14 minutes. Like, you got to get one of your steaks in you. You got to have a little family time. I promised my family I'd catch the end of Charlie Brown Christmas. So we got to go to right.
That's a good one.
I know, like, I'm down here hanging out with you, man.
I'm a big fan of Schroeder on the piano. So
I could see it. I get it there.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to the audience. There's 72 of y'all hanging out. Thank you, everybody. Troy and I will tell you, I'm gonna bug Troy to either get him back here or to get me on his show, because I have
both.
I have notes all over that I didn't even get to that I was taking on here, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna tell the Jason Kittinger story of Daytona and all this stuff. So we haven't even covered it yet, but what I do have
like he's one of those real dudes, man. Like I have to say, like, Jason is I don't even really know how to put Jason into words without me maybe tearing up. He's just a phenomenal person.
He's I'll tell you how I put it. When I am nobody, but when I was really nobody, I don't see myself as above anybody. Jason was cool to me. Jason came on my show fairly early on. Always showed me the time of the day, welcomed me at like the breeders tables, the cool hangouts. I was going to mention earlier, these one-day shows in the Midwest, there's no hangouts, man.
Yeah, you and I talked about that at Minnesota, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I miss it, man. And
we came up Friday night and got to grab dinner with a couple people, but it's still, man, it's just different. You know, you don't have like a couple days or whatever. It's just different.
Yeah, and the camaraderie was great. Jason's one of those guys that welcomed me at the table. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Dale Richards.
Dale's great. Yes,
Dale
Dale's great.
Richards, Jeremy Bod, and Steve's Morphs. Those guys were just, I don't know why. I don't know. I never spent a huge amount of money with them either. Like, maybe they thought I would. I don't know. But it was really cool, and they became mentors to me. And I miss that scene. Like, Minnesota is great. The scene here is great, but I miss that 2-day hangout. We don't have it at our shows, man.
Yeah, we won't vend Daytona. That's the only show you'll probably hear me be somewhat negative about.
Okay.
It's not the show. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of Wayne, and I'm also not a fan of having to jump through a ton of hoops, right? To make and like Jersey Balls. I know they got kicked out of the show last time, like, right? So anyways, but Daytona is such a fun show to go hang out at. And so that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that in August and I'm trying to get some of the California guys to come out, maybe I try to rope Joe in and JD and things. And so it's just a fun show to be at and hang out. And if you are in the Daytona area, you have to go to a place called Ant Catfish. Again, take it from a chubby guy. I know what I'm talking about. The food is pretty good. But the point is you get all you can eat cinnamon rolls, and they're the best damn cinnamon rolls on the planet. So it's really the only reason I come. Everybody else is second to the Seminoles.
So yeah, if we're gonna take the Daytona side trip or sidetrack, the logistics of the Daytona show from attending standpoint are phenomenal. The massive venue, it's right across the street from the ocean, which is a massive Hilton on the ocean, and it's done nicely. And it's one of those rare mixes of done really nice, but you don't feel like you're in like, Lower Manhattan paying, whatever, you could still, still in, don't ever forget, you're still in Daytona, which is sort of, it's got its own questionable personality in Florida.
Anyway. Certainly. Like, right. Like there's, there's some things you should stay away from in Daytona and some people.
I was going to say some of those things are the people, but
you got to watch out where you're at. It can be a bit dangerous here and there, but we photograph a national cheer there, and so in April typically, which I'll have to miss this year to be at the Dallas NARBC show, and so I enjoy my time there. I enjoy being at the show. I had to miss it this last round. I had a wedding that weekend, but looking forward to, just hanging out at the Daytona show. We vend, almost every other major show. And so it's nice to pick a show where you can be on the other side of the table. I think that's important. While you're at the show, you're networking and stuff, but you're also, you're always trying to be selling, right? And so you're kind of not stuck at your table, but you're stuck at your table. Yeah. And so I would recommend picking a big show, whether it's Pomona or NARBC or Daytona, and making one of those your hangout shows to really network and get to, meet people and have some, just some downtime of being on the other side and get to check out. There's so many times where I'm at, Tinley, and I'm like, hey, Lisa, no matter what, I'm going to go walk the show from 1 to 3 on Friday while you're setting up. Cause that shows, you pretty well, everybody's setting up on Friday. Or maybe I'll be like Saturday morning during, VIP, I'm going to hang out at the booth for an hour, but then I'm going to, buzz out. And I never do it. And if I do, it's short trips and I don't see what I want to see. And then I come home and people are like, hey, did you see,
right. Did you see this get unveiled? I'm like, no.
Nope. Didn't even see it. Didn't even know what happened, and so, take a time and go to a show and enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, and I'm a solo. When I vend, I'm there solo, so it's even more magnified. Like there's one good dude. I believe his name is Tom. He's a very cool dude, but he walks around at some of the local Minneapolis, Wisconsin shows, and he's like, Adam, you need a bathroom break? I'll keep an eye on the booth for you. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Thank you, man. I do, matter of fact. So, tell me, we got a little bit of time here.
Yeah, you're
fine.
Tell me
about this Late to the Mic podcast that you started, and tell us. There's got to be a story there, and just tell us how it's going. What you got going on? You got almost 20 shows under your belt now.
Yeah, God, Patrick was around still. He'd probably go tell you. I think we're at 16 or 17. I wanted to. So I'm going to take us back a minute. So I have a podcast that before COVID, I have a podcast called Off Track with Troy. It's still out there. You can still listen to it on Google and stuff. I have not done an episode now in a couple of years. And it started from, I love people and people have a story, and some people's, stories are easy. Some people's are difficult. But I always think people always have something in their life that they've had to overcome. And so
that's right.
Off Track with Troy started, a lot of my photographer friends, talking about, different things in life. And I've always said that, I'm going to start a reptile podcast, and I talk about it. And again, bad time management. And I just really have never taken the plunge. And Patrick and Chase and I think, somewhat jokingly had probably said it to each other, maybe a time or two. And Patrick literally called me up one night and was like, hey, Chase has Fridays off. So, Thursday's his Friday night. He can be up late. That's the only night it was going to work for Patrick. Does it work for you? Yep. I'm in. Right. And it really kind of, really quickly became a thing, and we weren't 100% sure how we want to do it. And it's been a lot of fun. It's a learning process, and it's tough with 3 people, right? So you have me, Chase, and Patrick, and we compete, you're arguing, you're cutting everybody off, and maybe that's part of the show atmosphere too. I don't know. Some days it drives me nuts, but
right.
I hate that part, but it's been a lot of fun, and we said from the beginning we didn't want it to be just about the animals or something. Like I want people to be able to get to know people. I think you do a really good job at that, and I think there's podcasts that do and there's podcasts that don't, and maybe that's their purpose, right? They want to talk just about the animals.
Sure.
And I think too many people, like if I were to talk to this 70 people that were in your comments right now and could talk to them individually, I think if I brought up somebody like Justin, they see Justin as somebody that's a top of our tier, and he's known for the animals, and it's just so ball python related. But rarely do you hear people talk about Justin as an example as a person, right? Like what he's into and like what drives him and his family and things like that. So Patrick and Chase and I, we wanted to try to find a way for people to get to know each other, get to know the person outside of just being part of the reptile world. And so there's a little bit of off-track fun questions where maybe you get to hear their goofy answers and you get to kind of find out what kind of person they are. And
right.
Yeah, we definitely want to, we definitely talk about the animals. I think that's important. And so every show is maybe a little bit different, but it certainly was kind of a goal to not just be about the animal kind of show. And I think we've done that pretty well. There's probably a few episodes where there's a lot of animal talk, and that's just who that person is and how it's going. So I certainly would enjoy if people have Thursday nights. It's at it's 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 p.m. right Eastern Time. I have to think about how the show is.
I had to learn
a little late. Yep.
Everything in the Midwest is like, you got to say, you can't just say a time. You got to say like it's this time or that time. Although I do enjoy the hour earlier football games. Like the mornings go by much quicker. My football games are on. That's cool. You said sometimes it goes that way, sometimes it doesn't. But that's the beauty of the live platform. And I think one of the reasons podcasts have become so popular again is, and just to clarify, I don't think it's because of me. It is. But it is. I've changed it. I've revolutionized it. You're welcome. No, I think it's because there's so little depth to social media where we find ourselves largely communicating out of necessity. It's how everybody communicates. We text now. Like, how annoying is it now to get an unexpected phone call? My gosh, this is where we've turned to. But these podcasts give us a chance to learn each other. And as I told you in the green room to start, like I purposely don't prepare 20 questions because I just want to see where things go. And sometimes you joked earlier that you gave me a really long answer, and I almost said, well, thank God, because it'd be boring if you were like, animals. That's it.
Animals.
That's the answer. Yeah, animals. One word answer. Oh, the one word answer guess. I'm like, oh man, okay, you gotta put on your work boots tonight, Adam. And then there's other nights where you're just like, push a button and sit back and let it rip, So it's you get both,
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, man. I enjoy being on a show. I enjoy being a part of a show, and it's been neat. I think I'm going to try to do a little bit of something too on my Best Dressed Balls channel. I've had it for years. I've never done anything, but I've decided to, make that a goal for 2024 to, talk about, like, here's the thing, like you have this show and you and I could talk for an hour and a half about husbandry and breeding and what's my favorite pen rain and blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. I think those questions are great. People have a chance to learn stuff and whatnot. Right. So I'm hoping that maybe in my own channel, I can just address a lot of those questions myself. Right. And then hopefully when it's times like this, like, we get to just talk and have a good time and see where it goes. So yeah, I love your format. I think it's great. And, at the same time, when I leave these things, I'm like, God, I wonder if people were like, oh, they didn't talk anything about this, and then I feel bad. I do not like to let people down. It's my only, I don't care if I offend people. I don't like to let people down. So,
well,
two drastic things.
but there's got to be a fair expectation. We can't cover all the world in 90 minutes. That's why we just got to do it again. And I tell people, I'm like, if we don't get to everything, that there's always another Tuesday. And if there's another Tuesday,
we can have part two. We can have part 2 next week.
No, I'm booked next week, not next week. And we gotta keep them waiting. You gotta have people salivating. Hey, one really important thing though, actually 2 really important things. I have one question here that I need a quick answer on, but 2 really important things. You mentioned the show is not on your own channel. What's the show called? Where can people find it? How do they tune into the show?
Yeah, so if you look up late to the mic on YouTube, we run everything through YouTube. And so you just search late to the mic. I do know that I was manually trying to get them posted to things like Google Podcasts and Apple and whatnot. I think we now have a service, hopefully, that's going to take a little bit of care of that for us. But whether you want to watch it live or watch it after the fact, you certainly can find it here on YouTube at Late to the Mic. Thursday nights, cool. 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. All right. Thursday nights, 10, Late to the Mic.
Yeah.
I hear, and I need this, you're going to have to speak on behalf of Patrick here.
All right.
It drives me crazy, but enough people do it that maybe I'm the snobby jerk that's wrong. Like, you could be the snobby jerk and right and get away with it a little bit, but you can't be the snobby jerk and get it wrong. Is it pronounced chimera or chimera or however, is it pronounced chimera or not?
Well, I would tell you that we call it chlamydia.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
As our running kind of inside joke in the big circle of people, whenever we talk about Patrick's business, we call it chlamydia.
Okay.
I believe if you're saying it right, it's chimera.
It's chimera, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a trap here that you're not answering me confidently. I feel like you're setting me up on a prank here.
So there's a photo company, and I think they actually go the opposite way, spelled the same, but they pronounce it chimera, I believe. And so sometimes I'm like, which one's right? But I believe it's chimera.
Right? It's chimera, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a show with the man. What does he call himself?
Well, he calls himself Dr. Patrick, and he likes to talk about himself. He's very self-centered, and
you must have said his company name once.
Yeah, I don't know if he probably hasn't. I'll have to drill him about that Thursday night. We actually have one of your sponsors on Thursday night, so we have Danny and his lovely wife from Portuguese Pythons on this Thursday night.
Oh, sweet! They're awesome, man. Cool.
They are phenomenal people.
Yeah.
I've met, I'll just throw this out there. I think California gets a lot of shit, and it probably should. But I've met some of the greatest people, and them being, some of those people. California at the Pomona Reptile Show, just phenomenal people. I really enjoy my time there.
Cool. I'm going to leave it there because we're in overtime, and I promised you some dinner time. And
that's okay.
Even if you don't mind, I promised my family some Charlie Brown time. So I'm going to do that. Hey, Troy, thank you so much, man. We got to do this again on camera, off camera. We got to hang out, man. This is cool. I really appreciate it, man. I had a fun time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Will you be February Minnesota show?
Yeah, I'll be at February Minnesota show.
I went ahead and got to my tables there. So, yep. I have to say hi to my mom from my buddy Tony from Next Level, his lovely mother. She's in the comments. She's the best, and so she's like my other mom, and she takes very good care of me. Sends me a lot of uplifting messages, and a phenomenal person. So her and Tony are great people. And again, I met them, through the California connection. So,
cool.
You should have Tony on. Tony from Next Level. You should send him a message and have him on, man. He's a really good dude.
But he's not in California though, right?
He is. Yeah. Yep. So,
Next Level Displays.
So different. So Tony has Next Level Morphs, I think is his total name.
Got it.
Yep, he's out of Cali, and yeah, we tease him a lot because like there's like another next level too that was like next level pythons or something, I think, for a while, and
But there's the
so
display cases too that
the
are
display people, yeah, and they breed also, so they have ball pythons, and I think like boas. So yeah, so
yeah, okay.
I don't think he knew all that when he came up with his name, but yeah, he's good stuff. So
yeah, okay. Joe says we're gonna bring back Lesser.
So Tony on a podcast, I think on MJ's podcast, they were talking about like sunset, and I think MJ said something to the fact to Tony of like, hey, what would make it better? And Tony's dumbass said Lesser, and we have not let him live it down. And so I'm in a little private chat group with Tony, and man, we really drill him about the Lesser comment. I think he said it out of nervousness, even though he does try to defend it to us. But hey, I love it. He said, "Here we go," and his mom's laughing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you got to get him on, man, and that'll be at least a 15-minute part of your show, as you can talk about why in the hell he would have ever said what he said. So
well, yeah, I'm gonna give Joe a little bit of trouble because I own some animals from Joe, and if I think through it, I believe they all have Lesser in them.
Yeah, he gave them to you though, right? Tell me he just gave them to you. He didn't make you pay for them, did he?
There was a transaction. It was a handsome I have to say it felt favorable at the time, so I'm not going to I can't knock him for the transaction, but yeah, my collection has more or less in it from Joe's kind transaction.
No, that's, to be honest, man, and I know you got to get going too, but I'll end with this. We all shoot ourselves in the foot by kicking rocks at things like Lesser and Pastel and whatnot, right? Like, because there's people coming up into the industry and like they hear, and I'm guilty, so don't think I'm over here preaching. But I'm trying, like, this is fun, little inside joke, right, on Tony, but like, we all kick rocks at, jeans, and then when they don't sell, who's really to blame, and
right.
And so anyways, I'll end it with that.
There we go. Hey, I want to thank everybody in the audience that came to check out Troy. If you're new to the show, I hope you'll consider sticking around and subscribing, checking it out in the future. I hope to see you again. Troy, I also want to give you a personal thanks. You were very, very transparent. I learned a lot about you. I got to know a lot about you. And thanks for being that open, because I promise you, you're not the only one thinking and feeling that way sometimes. And sometimes that's just what we need to hear. And so thank you for that. And,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, I mean that. Let's do it again. We'll figure out when to do it again. I'll see you in Minnesota. I'll see you in Iowa as well. I'm on the Des Moines show as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I always try to swing in and say hello, so I'll do my best to be there.
Okay, cool. And one of these days, I'll tell you about the night that I slept in the Ames, Iowa Dodge dealership parking lot with a Sprinter van full of that ARS rack full of snakes.
Oh, yes. I will look forward to hearing that. Yes.
And it wasn't on purpose either. So anyway,
all right.
I'll see you soon. Stick around for just a second. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Talk to y'all next week. Same time, same place. Cheers, guys.